Okay, I'm back and I would like to talk about something that happened this week to me and just to show how I use the steps and use the recovery tools to work through things that are happening in my everyday life. And this was a, a good one because um, some friends of mine were doing some things that I could have been a part of or could have postponed or could have had, a say in, and I chose not to. And I had good reason not to. But I was like a little kid on the school ground, and I didn't want to do it, but I didn't want them to do it either. I didn't want them to have fun. But I had to call and say, I hope you have a good time. Not really, I don't mean that. And in fact, I probably even said that, don't have fun without me, like I used to kid around with my son. Um, but the truth is, I really didn't want them to have fun. I didn't want them to be doing it without me. And yet I'm the one who didn't want to do it. And just because I've been doing this stuff for a while doesn't mean that I don't get into these places, between a rock and a hard place. So I had called and I had said, I hope you have fun. But the way I said it, it seemed a little snarky. And I thought, they're going to know that I was being sort of immature about it. Totally immature. And so then I went about my day and I kept asking God to forgive me just for my attitude and just for the way that I was treating other people. In my mind, that's how I saw it. And I didn't really have the quiet time that morning. I didn't really do the reading that I usually do, so I wasn't really spiritually centered, spiritually fit. And so I feel like I was just dragging my ego around town on a rope. I happened to go to church that day, and, I brought my bruised and battered ego around with me, and, oh, look, I'm so holy and wonderful. I'm going to church. And then I went to a Bible study that day, it just so happened. And the same thing. And I got in there, and the whole time I kept asking for forgiveness. Now, this is not so much a religious thing for me as it is a commitment that I have to my higher power about how if I have trouble with something, I'm going to bring it to him and I'm going to ask for help. And sometimes I'm just not ready to get out of my pity pot. I'm just not ready to let go of it. So here I go all over town, dragging this ego on a rope, and I'm flinging it around, hitting everybody that I see with it. And I affect people around me. I know I do. And it's not that I'm so powerful. It's just that, I'm a little bit more snarky. I'm a little bit more negative. A couple of the women at the Bible study were talking about how much they enjoyed something, and I was feeling like it was important for me to chime in to say how much I didn't like it. And God, it was like having an out-of-body experience. And I was just thinking, like, what's the matter with you? Who are you? Stop doing that. You're being ridiculous. And it did take me a while, and I did have to keep asking God. And finally, I felt like I'm just going to I'm crawling up on the couch, and I'm going to crawl in your lap, God, and I'm not leaving here until you give me the peace that passes understanding. What is the matter with me? So I did some reading, and I did some writing, and I asked to help let go of it. And I finally did. And then I knew I had to call back, and I had to talk to the people that I had talked to and say, listen, I was kind of snarky. I don't know what another word would be for that. And I think that I owe you an apology. And I really want to tell you, I really do hope you have a good time. And I hope that you, have good weather and a good trip and whatever. And the thing that got me was they had no idea. They did not see it at all the way I saw it. They thought, oh, you said that earlier. Oh, no, we're great. We're great. And I thought, damn it. I didn't even have to call back and tell them that. But I did, because this is not about them. This is about me. This is about making amends. It comes up in step 9 and it comes up in step 10. I'm not making amends so that they'll be okay. I'm making amends so that I'll get back to right size. And when I get off the track, when I get off my, GPS set for happy, joyous, and free, and I start to veer off the trail, I want those feelings to be clear to me so that I know what I need to do to get back into the stream, back into the middle of the stream where I belong, back in the middle of the pack where I belong. Because as soon as I start veering off into the woods, or as soon as I start getting cut out of the pack by my attitude, it's when I'm going to be the most vulnerable for a head attack, because that's what happens. My head attacks me, and it starts to tell me all the things that are wrong and negative, and all of the ways that I screw up, and all the things that I've done wrong, and all of the things that I don't know, and all of the things that aren't enough. And it's pretty easy to get into that place. And I've said this before about HALT, H-A-L-T, hungry, angry, lonely, tired. Whenever you're one of those things, it's kind of important to stop and address it. And I guess I was one or two of those things. I know I was. And it's not easy to catch it. And that's why it's really good to have somebody that you can talk to about this work. You know, if you're in a 12-step group, it's really important to have a sponsor that you can check in with. It's really important to have other people that you can call that sort of speak your language. You know, it might be what they call the language of recovery, which is where not everybody is tuned into this kind of these kind of awarenesses. And there's a group that talks about the 3 A's: awareness, acceptance, and action. And I can become aware that I'm acting like this. I don't like the part of me that shows up. I can accept it, like, all right, it is what it is. I did it. I don't like that saying either. It is what it is, but I did it. This is where I'm at. And step 2 in the insanity is a desire to change the past. I did it already, so I can't spend too much time with that. What can I do to change it? What can I do to make it right? First, I have to change my attitude. It's 90% attitude and 10% circumstance here. So I need to change my attitude, and then my actions can change. And then what actions do I need to take to make it right? And so if there are other people involved, I need to get in touch with them and set it straight, whether they know it or not. And of course, because they didn't know, it was like a big joke for me, like a big cosmic joke. Like, oh, I didn't really have to call them, but I did. I wanted to make sure that we were good. And so I did clean it up. I was able to let it go. I did drag it around for a few hours, but eventually I really was able to let it go. And that is the part that is the miracle for me. I don't have to carry this around for days. I don't have to let it descend on everything that I'm doing. I don't have to let it color my relationships or color my conversations with people. And I don't have to be disagreeable, and I don't have to be negative. I don't want to waste time. I have a finite amount of time left. And so I would like to spend it, instead of talking about what's not working and about the problems and about, you know, being negative about it, I want to talk about what is working. There's too much good going on. If I need to sit down and write a gratitude list, whether it's 5 things I'm grateful for or 50 things I'm grateful for, just to be willing to sit down and stop and try to switch gears. It really does make a difference. I don't want to barrel through the day and, you know, step on people's toes. It talks about this in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. You know, we step on people's toes and then they retaliate. And then we, you know, what? Me? What did I do? I do have a part. I'll have to get that acceptance paragraph out and read that and do a short video on that, because that's a great paragraph. But basically it says whenever I'm upset about something, it's usually, it's nothing about outside of me. It's something about me. And the good news about that is, as we find out in the end of the 4th step in the last column, is that if it's about me, then I can do something about it. If it's about somebody else, I can't do anything about it. So I just wanted to stop and make this video and just keep in practice of keep doing these, even though I'm not posting them as quickly as I'm making them. It's just practice for being comfortable with the camera and talking, and finally finding out where to look in the viewfinder so that I'm not staring at my own reflection. So thanks for listening, and I hope it's helpful for someone. It's actually really helpful for me to say these things out loud and to remember, why do I keep doing this work? Because I really want to be the best that I can be. I don't want to waste time anymore talking about, you know, what's not working, because there's just too much great stuff out there, including this beautiful day. Sunny Sunday in March, and the daffodils are up, the crocus are up. I don't know. Life is good. I hope you have a great day too.